Hossein, welcome to Real Vision.
Thank you for having me. Excited for this discussion, Ash.
Hossein, you have a resume that reads like a venture capitalist's dream. MBA from Columbia, PhD in computer science from Harvard. You're a former Google senior research scientist, a co-founder of a personal finance app, which you then sold to Goldman Sachs, and you are now involved in the crypto/DeFi space.
Well, I have been, I think, lucky to be in places to work with great people, and I've always tried to put myself just in the frontier of what's happening, and I'm super excited to be part of crypto and DeFi movement.
So tell us a little bit about that journey, how you came to be where you are today.
Well, I started working on a PhD in computer science, and the lab I was at called Economics and Computation at Harvard. It actually focused on basically how do you understand crowd and how do you incentivize them to do something, and often without a boss. It's called, it's a field in economic theory. It's called mechanism design, and we had concepts. We would look into Bitcoin. I remember my advisor used to teach a course that I was a TA at. This is 2011 when Bitcoin was $3, and Bitcoin was basically a social experiment that we studied or looked into from an academic perspective. So after my PhD, I got a job at Google. It was in the research side, basically trying to do similar things. Work on econ-related topics. How do you basically relate them to machine learning and Google's products? And I learned a ton on the obviously the scale and how these technology companies do great things. So there's a transition that we could dig deeper in, like when we talk about DeFi and my general motivations. But long story short, I moved to do a startup that was on personal financial management. It was called Clarity Money, and that was acquired by Goldman Sachs. And along the line, Ethereum has been gaining prominence. 2015-16, it was a really great theoretical idea, moving from Bitcoin and showing that actually you can build a financial system on this platform. But it was early, 2016, 17, 18, when I was working on Clarity Money. But eventually, especially DeFi summer 2020, was a clear evidence that you can actually start building a new financial system on these new rails. Right. And that was when we basically started discussion about consumer DeFi and how we should build a first banking service on these rails.
Right. So that brings us right up to the present and what you're doing at Cmorq, spelled letter Cmorq. Tell us a little bit of the backstory there. What was the need that you identified in the marketplace? What did you see in terms of the technologies that you believed would be able to implement a new architecture, a new infrastructure based on these new rails? Tell us a little bit about what that process looked like.
2018, when we started the business, that was the basically literally bottom of the market, October 2018. And it was called the crypto winter. So the retail was not there as active. Neither was the platform. So everybody went through these basically hypes on ICOs and etc. And it was a lot of burnouts. So, but what was there? A set of blockchains that were working, but you didn't have the layer to actually go pull the data from these chains and make use of it. Now, that use could be for audit purposes, for accounting, for analytics, for trading. So we started from that point that basically said, we want to be that company that organizes and puts this in front of businesses. So that was a B2B business. And as we went through the, obviously, 2020, lots of things happened, including the DeFi summer, that we started seeing that basically these platforms, for example, Uniswap, when they kind of started having meaningful volumes in comparison to other centralized exchanges, it was basically a clear signal to start building for retail. So, and that was the kind of birth of our B2C business, which is now Cmorq app, which is available on iOS and Android is coming soon. And with this product, basically, you have all the banking services that, you think about. You have your money, you self-custody it in a crypto wallet. You can earn interest for it. You could borrow against your assets. You could stake it and earn more on your crypto or your exchanges. They're all possible in one app and more.
Yeah. First of all, for anyone who wasn't present in the space in 2018, it takes a very high conviction in this technology to build out and beginning to do the startup phase of a company during crypto winter. It was an incredibly grim time for many of us who were fascinated by the space back then. Tell us a little bit about that menu of services that you just mentioned in detail. Let's walk through them and talk a little bit about what you see as the pressing need for why they need to exist, and potentially why you see this being the future of finance more broadly.
That's a great question. And there are many ways that this has been answered, right? And there are many narratives. So, but the powerful trend, and to your also earlier comment that thinking in 2018 about like where this is going, I think the powerful trend that really convinces me is the trend of decentralization. This is not a trend of that last 5 to 10 years. This is trends of, I could go back really long, but just to keep it in the finance space, I think you start from when JP Morgan Jr. was buying corporations and merging them and benefiting from the value add. And then you have this movement that people start thinking about, we could actually own these stock, right? And then obviously you have the crisis and you have SEC as a result. So look at that trend, and then you have the brokers, and then you have internet and more technology. You have discount brokers, you have Scottrade, you have E-Trade, you have 90s. Then again, you have another, bump in 2001, and then that trend continues. And then you have Robinhood, and other easy to trade, no commission platforms. You see in that 100 years that there's more basically ownership for the consumer, right? Robinhood has more than 10 million users. Coinbase today has more than 50 million users. Basically, the trend is this. You cannot stop middle class from joining the money class. You can help them. You can be part of it. And DeFi is basically what captures that trend. It is part of that trend. And so far, it has come so far because of that trend.
Yeah. Okay, Hossein, I'm going to ask your help with something. I have many close friends who are in the financial space who say to me some version of the following. Yeah, I get it. Decentralized systems, they're really cool. You nerdy tech guys love doing stuff with math and science, and it's really neat, and I get it. But I don't really feel like this is something I need. I've got a bank. I'm happy with them. When there's a problem with my account, I can pick up the phone. If someone steals my credit card number and makes fraudulent purchases, there's someone on the other end of the line who backs those out. I just don't understand this. This is a solution in search of a problem. That's the argument that I hear from some of my traditional finance friends and from people who are just in the business space more broadly. What do you say when you hear that argument?
So let's start with this. DeFi will enable the first global more than 1 billion user bank. So imagine if you didn't have any of those features, not the credit card, not the bank account, not the mortgage. So the delta that you feel between the life with them and without them, right? What DeFi is doing, giving that delta to the 1.7 billion people who does not have that. So that is where this thing derives itself to start. And this is not a new yesterday's trend. Networks have been growing on this. You have now more than $20 billion lent on protocols, fully decentralized. You have more than $600 billion of exchange on these protocols. So we are seeing basically the first DeFi banking services to come to life, and the consumer DeFi to become how you do finance. And that is going to start from somewhere, but it's not going to stop. It is going to start. It's going to get to impacting everybody's lives in the better way, the same way that internet did.
Hey, if you like this clip, be sure to check out the full interview and more only on realvision.com/crypto. It's 100% free. Sign up now.